Hi everyone, welcome to Lifestyle Freak TV. I wanted to talk to you today about my experience with anxiety and how I've learned to cope with it. I first started experiencing anxiety about 5 years ago. I was on my way to Las Vegas, and when I got there I felt really out of it. So I blamed it on the fact that I was tired because I had taken a really early flight that day. I took a nap. When I woke up I felt like I wasn't myself. I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience, so to speak. And the whole trip I felt like my chest was really tight, and I was having these heart palpitations, and at times my heart would be beating really fast, and I couldn't eat. I couldn't really enjoy myself, and the times that I would feel okay, I was worried that one of these episodes would start again. I had no idea what it was. So when I got back home from my trip, I went to a walk-in clinic. And they did a bunch of tests because I told them that my heart was feeling really strange and it was racing all the time. So they did a few tests and they said to me that everything was fine and most likely this was anxiety. And they said I should start exercising and meditating. At the time, I didn't want to accept such an easy answer to such a weird experience. So I didn't take it seriously. I didn't exercise as much as I should have. I didn't meditate. And as time went on, it started changing from me having just tightness in my chest and a fast heart rate to me having sharp shooting pains in my head and hearing weird popping sounds in my ear. And when I walked, I would feel as if I'm walking on a cloud, like I have no balance and I was losing my footing. And at times I felt like my whole blood would rush from my head into my feet and I was gonna faint. So I went to my family doctor and he also did some tests, and we ruled all the worst case scenarios out, and he said, I do think this is anxiety and I think you need to start exercising more because this will help you focus all this pent up energy and anxious energy into like some vigorous exercising, and this will help you feel better. And he didn't think that I needed to be on medication because this was not severe enough and it was something I could deal with on my own. As time went on, I started exercising, but I didn't try that hard. I wasn't really focusing all my power into doing some good exercising because I thought, how is exercise going to make me feel better? How is exercise going to make me feel like I'm not floating or I'm not being able to have control over my body? So my doctor said, okay, why don't we send you to a psychiatrist? So I was able to go to a psychiatrist for 4 times, and after she evaluated me, she said that this could be easily dealt with without medication. So I was relieved that I had someone that was experienced in the field tell me that I didn't need medication and that in fact it was anxiety that I had. So what she suggested was, after we went through what my fears were, which were, 1, I'm scared that I'm going to die. My second fear was, I'm scared that I'm going to faint in public and everyone's going to look at me and think that I'm weird. And 3, I was fearful of this feeling of like this impending doom, like something bad was going to happen. I didn't know what exactly, but something bad. And she went through each one of those things and she said, okay, well, your fear of dying, really there's nothing you can do about that because at some point in our lives we're all going to die. And she said, you just have to learn to accept that and not focus so much on something that you can't control. And the second thing was me passing out in public. And she said to me, have you ever seen someone faint in public? And I said, yeah. And she said, what happened? And I said, everybody rushed to help this person. And she said, was there anyone standing over her, pointing and laughing and saying that she's weird or anything like that? And I said, no. And she said, well, that's what happens in real life when someone faints. People rush to help you and they don't just leave you there and point at you and laugh. And my third one about the impending doom, that's just the general feeling of anxiety, feeling like you have no control and something bad will happen to you and you have no control over it. So she gave me a few things to do. One of the things was breathing and counting to 10. So what I would do is I take in a deep breath through my nose and exhale through my mouth and count each breath. So I would say 1, 2, and so on all the way to 10. Another exercise she gave me to do was evaluate the situation. So wherever you are, in a room, in the park, in a bar, wherever you are, look around the room and let your worst case scenario come to you and accept it. Say, okay, I'm scared that I'm in a bar right now and I'm going to faint. And everyone's here having a good time and I'm going to ruin it for everyone because I'm going to faint and they're all going to look at me and be like, oh my gosh, so weird. What if that happens? So what? You faint. People faint all the time. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I also started looking at it like I've had anxiety for so many years now and I never once passed out from it. So it's most likely not going to happen. It's just that feeling that I keep getting. So just look around the room, evaluate what's going on and how you're feeling, and just say, okay, if the worst case scenario happens, it happens. Somebody will be here to help me. I'm not all alone. And she also suggested that I exercise. So I did start exercising, and I noticed that after a while, it's not an overnight thing. It's not a 1 week thing. You have to keep doing it and keep doing it so your body gets used to it. And I noticed that it does help. There's days where I don't want to exercise because I'm so anxious and I feel so out of it that I don't want to go to the gym. And I'll force myself to go, and I do feel better. And there's times where I just don't want to go because I do feel that bad and I don't want to go, and I'll just say, you know what, forget it. I'm not going to go today. And it's okay. Also, at the end of the day, understand that it's only anxiety, and anxiety is cyclical. So what that means is anxiety comes and goes in waves. So you will feel that horrible feeling at first as it climbs up, as your anxiety climbs up towards the peak, that, oh my God, I'm losing control, I'm losing my mind, something's wrong with me, I don't know what it is, no one's going to be able to help me, I want to run out of this room right now, or wherever you are, you want to run away so you're not around people and no one's looking at you. And then you get to the peak where you're like ready to just run out of there, and you think, okay, this is it, this is how I'm gonna die right now, or my heart is gonna give out, or whatever your fear is. And then you'll notice, if you pay attention, it'll start going away. For me, I notice that I'm very quiet when I'm anxious, when I'm going through my anxiety. I'm very, very, very quiet, and people around me will notice and they'll ask me what's wrong, and I'll say nothing because I don't want them to know what's going on. And I notice that after it starts getting better, I start getting very chatty and I start talking a lot because I feel normal again. And I notice that if I do tell people that I'm having anxiety at the moment and assure them I'm fine, I just have this anxiety problem and I just need you to tell me that I'm okay and I'll feel better eventually. Just don't give in to my fear. Don't let me accept the fear like, oh my God, something horrible is going to happen. As long as the person tells me, don't worry, you're fine, it's just anxiety, play it off like it's nothing, I do start feeling better and I feel comfortable around that person. Also, the last thing that I want to talk to you about, the psychiatrist also suggested this book to me. It's the Anxiety and Phobia Workbook. I find that this book was a lifesaver for me. I will put the information of the book down in the description below. But this book has helped me so much. One of the biggest things it has helped me with, I noticed that as I went through my anxiety all my years, I thought, okay, if I talk to this person that has anxiety and they have the same thing I do, I'll feel better. And I noticed that nobody had the same symptoms that I did because everybody experiences anxiety differently. So when I read this book, all the examples and all the stories that it had in it helped me understand that, oh my God, this is the same thing I have. It was very similar to what I was feeling, and it made me feel so much better. It made me feel like I wasn't alone, like I wasn't the only person experiencing this. And the exercises in it really help you also. They help you learn how to cope and deal with your panic and anxiety. I highly suggest this book. It has helped me a lot. It has helped other friends that I have a lot that have anxiety that's different from mine. I just recommend this book, and they've read it and they said it does help them because of the examples in it. It makes them feel like, okay, I do have the same thing as this person in this book, and it's fine, it's normal, it's just anxiety. So that's my experience with anxiety. Another thing I wanted to point out is make sure that if you're having that really anxious day, don't drink alcohol, don't drink caffeine, because it only makes it worse. I have experienced that where I thought, okay, if I'm just out with my friends, I'll just drink because I'll get drunk and I'll forget about it. It amplifies everything. It makes every feeling, every sensation of anxiety you have 10 times worse. I strongly suggest don't drink if you're having a really anxious day. Just kind of go somewhere, relax, exercise. You can still go with your friends, just don't drink. Stick to water. Try to stay away from the sugar because that also gets you a little hyper and it's not good. And stay away from the caffeine, because I find that when I don't drink coffee anymore, but when I have too much tea, I do get that little bit of anxiousness and it makes me feel uncomfortable, and I just try to limit my caffeine intake. So that is all for this video. I hope this has helped you. I know that when my anxiety first started, I wish I could have been able to find a solution for it sooner, but just know that it does get better. It will get better. You'll learn how to cope with it. It'll be part of you. It'll be part of who you are, and you'll just learn how to deal with it and not let it control you and consume you. And once you get to that point, you'll enjoy life more. But it is a journey. It does take time, and you just have to go through the motions and just learn how to accept it and live with it, and it'll get better. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!